You're listening to Real People's Media. If you don't know who we are, you will soon.
On the morning of May 8, 2019, Mohawks in Wahta Territory in the Muskoka region of Ontario occupied the cultural centre in their community. Shortly after their action, heavily armed OPP tactical units surrounded the building and have blocked the entry of supporters. The standoff is ongoing at the present time. The following is an interview with Dave Stock, a Mohawk from Wahta who is inside the occupied cultural centre. This interview was recorded on the evening of May 8, 2019. This is Tom Kiefer reporting for Real People's Radio, 87.9 FM in Tyendinaga, Mohawk Territory, and available around the world at www.rpr879.com.
My name is Dave Stock. I am currently in the Wahta Community Cultural Center. It was taken pretty much as a last resort as to the assimilation. Currently, we've been here for a while. We're dealing with many OPP officers. We have one that's in contact with us right now that just informed us that we would be arrested for provincial trespass on an Indian reserve. I don't know how you can charge your members under provincial statutes in a reserve, but this is the way the assimilation seems to be going.
And so what has led you to occupy this building, and what is the relationship to the 140-day action and occupation that occurred a few years back?
The relationship was we seen where council and that seemed to be going the way of trying to become a municipality. We don't want that for our people. The elder ladies and all that have stipulated that they wanted something done. We're at the end of our rope, tried many avenues. We've exhausted all avenues. We've seen all kinds of corruption and everything, and they were just done. So this is something that had to be done.
What are you looking for in terms of support?
Well, what we just learned tonight was that like I said, we're dealing with like many police. Like there's a true team here, tactical response unit. There's approximately 6 vehicles at one end and approximately 3 at the other. They're letting people in. As far as I'm concerned, this seems to be like our last stand. It seems to be the last. If we lose this small community to corruption and everything like that, there's nothing stopping them from going for the bigger ones.
And what are some of the instances of corruption that you're pointing to?
Well, one of the bigger ones was a document that we had found through Hydro. It was obviously hidden because it was in none of our archives. And it was one that blatantly showed like fraud. It was a fraudulent document where chief and 2 councillors had issued a statement in a BCR to INAC that we had a referendum and it passed with overwhelming majority. There was 2 things on there. One was the fact that the chief had signed himself, the chief Lane Command had signed as himself as to give himself quorum, also given himself the power to make any changes, additions, or deletions as he seen fit. Also, there was never a referendum, as it was stated.
Is there also something about the keeping of an enemies list and the mistreatment of people that don't agree with the elected council?
Yeah, basically what happens is they created an enemies list to anybody who stood up against them, and they disguised it as what they called a restricted services list. Anybody who's, even people, because when we did the 139-day protest, we owed them money. So what we ended up doing, they put us on that. We always ask them, what do we owe you? Where did this come from? I went to an actual council meeting. I went down there and I said, I heard about an enemies list. And this is just, I was wondering who was on it. I was promptly told by one of the councillors, don't worry, you're on it.
Have you taken any steps to call for mediation or to involve perhaps the Mohawk Nation or chiefs and clan mothers or the sort of traditional leadership in helping to resolve the issue?
We tried that, but the elder ladies and everybody here has come to the conclusion that if you want to have peace with somebody, you need somebody who's actually engaged in it. What they did is they hired somebody to do a what they called a mediation process, which became a smoke and mirrors thing, just to say, oh, well, we tried. And also further delay something. If somebody truly wants peace, the first thing they're going to do is try to mediate and try to talk to each other. They would leave it a month at a time before they even got to each other. Sometimes they wouldn't even do it then. They wouldn't engage.
Can you talk a bit about the dynamic of the off-reserve members and the on-reserve members?
What happens is that we have very few on-reserve members. We have lots of off-reserve members. So what happens then is they get a hold of and they tell them, okay, well, we're doing this, 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 and this, which all sounds good, but what they're saying they're doing and what they're actually doing are two different things. Take, for example, tonight, any other reserve that I know of would fight against provincial government takeover, but these guys are actively embracing it.
Is this part of the move towards that framework and the municipalization of Indigenous nations?
I believe it is, and I believe it's through band councils that this is going to take place.
What leads you to that conclusion?
Well, if these guys are any indication of what they do, a corrupt council or a council that has hidden agendas or sees only things as money, or like, for example, living on a reserve as just being a simple thing as I got a status card, I don't pay taxes, and I can do whatever I want. That's not the way it is. But that's the way they seem to want to keep it that way.
Is there about 150 community members living in Wahta on reserve?
Yeah, there's about that many community members, but probably about less than 40% are members, probably non-Indigenous spouses.
Okay. And are those people able to enter and leave the community or leave the territory at will, or are they being blocked by the OPP?
The only place that's being blocked is like the center of the reserve. So if I want to go across, let's call it 350 yards worth of highway, I have to go. It's a lot bigger now. If I want to go across to say about a half a mile of it, I have to go all the way around and come in from the other direction. So it could take upwards of an hour.
Okay. And if you try to, if people came to that center, are they able to get in? How are you guys accessing food or water or medical?
No, they have a tactical response unit sitting out there. It's approximately between 6 to 12 vehicles. They have tactical units surrounding us. All this for a trespass? Yeah.
Now, by tactical units, what are you referring to?
Big, heavily armored vehicles, as well as numerous police and other cars.
And how are you guys doing you guys are inside a building, right? Like you don't have. Yep. Can you get in and out? Is there can you get fresh air? How are you getting food or water and the rest of it?
There was some here. We brought some with us, but they what do you call it? They have us pretty essentially blocked in. We have water. We have some food. They're trying to talk us into coming out tonight, at which point in time we'll be arrested.
And is it your intention to continue staying in the building, or what? Can you?
Yeah, we intend to stay here. They're not giving us much options, especially when you have a council that is giving up like that. The rest of the nation seems to be coming and starting to wake up now. Most can't believe that we're being charged. They want to charge us provincially by a band council.
Yeah, how would that work, given that the band council is a federal creation?
Well, apparently the OPP said that, yeah, we will charge anybody you want under our statutes, and they can give that okay.
So it's like they're actively becoming their own layer of government, ordering cops around to do things on the people. That's right. What kind of responses are you getting, both from people in your own territory and elsewhere?
We're starting to get support from it, but of course, the council supporters are the ones that are getting the jobs and everything like that. So we're very few. Basically, there's very few Indians here, so they're going to try to fight for whatever they can, right?
Does the band council, are they making a membership code where they get to determine who's a member and who's not a member?
They actually always did that. the way it works is band council has the final say. They can overturn the registrar, and they did. Our membership code stated that you had to be 25% Mohawk, and we have people who are not even Indigenous at all.
And they are involved. And are those people involved in the administration and running of the band council?
Directly or indirectly, yes.
Again, is there anything in particular that you're looking for in terms of support from allies or supporters or other members of the Mohawk Nation who have an interest in what's happening in Wahta?
Well, all I can say is that if this is the way we're going to go, if we're going to become assimilated, then this here was all for nothing. I always hear people saying that, oh, it's time to stand up and do something, but when it comes time to it, it's almost like they don't. Everybody's always saying, we need to do something. Well, here, now, it's been started, so start it.
There was apparently a rumor going around that the people inside were armed, and that this perhaps provided the excuse for the major number of OPP tactical people on site. Can you speak to that?
We've never been armed. It was a peaceful protest. What happened was one of the band counselors come in, looked around, seen who was there, and then promptly left. This is one of the ones that are trying to do the assimilation. So that's exactly what's going on. They basically turned around and said that, oh, well, we can't do that, we can't do this. So,
is there anything else that you feel we need to address?
Well, if they're allowed to do provincial charges on a reserve, then I guess we've lost. If the people don't stand now, we're going to lose everything.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Dave.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Thanks. Oh, no.
Several hours after this interview was conducted, the occupiers left the building. According to a post made on social media, quote, "We made the decision to leave the cultural center out of fear, as we and many others are aware that these officers are trained to shoot and ask questions later. They believed us to be a threat, and this scenario was a high possibility. So we, all 7 of us, snuck out the back of the building and began a lengthy trek into the woods away from the center towards a house on reserve. We have remained at the house since." End quote. Real People's Media will continue to keep you updated as the story develops. For updates, check out www.realpeoples.media.